Tēnei te pōnau mai te ao. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Under The Whāriki. Ko tau hola sa hai.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko te atākura Charlene pe whairangi a hau. Nā, kua piri mai tētahi manuhiri ki a tāu i te rangi nei. Kei taku taina nau mai, whakapiri mai rā, ka tukuna ki a koe, ko wai koe, nohea hoki koe.
Kia ora i te whānau, ko pātanga te maunga, ko whare kahika te awa, ko te whānau atu, whakairi ora te hapū, ko Moerangi taku ingoa, tēnā, koutou, tātou, katoa.
He kaupapa nui te haere ki nei, kei te kōrerotia, te pōharatanga, o tira o whiako i roto i tēnei mea te pōharatanga. What was it like growing up in poverty for you?
It wasn't just, like, poverty isn't just about not having enough pūtea. Like, koera etahi o ngā pōhehetanga. It's honestly just the really little daily realities of scarcity, of not having enough, being enough, needing more, not wanting. It's needing more, sharing everything, making do, and more often than not, going without. Yeah, koera tērā o I taua wā. Some of the realities that are truly, you know, kua titia ki te ngākau, he wā tōna I noho kainga kore mātou, ko taku pāpā, ko tuku tūngāni, and back then, that was just normal, like, I noho tēneti mātou. Ko mātou I tētahi whānau, I noho tēneti, I tētahi hapori Māori, I whare kahika, I taku kainga. And, like, if you can imagine living in a fucking crack up to think about, living in a tent, it just kind of low-key sounds like a joke, like, but that was our daily realities, you know, washing at the river, mowing ngā kākahu kura orite. It's all the, paru I'm talking about. It's all those little realities. That's what it was like. The normal daily routine of my tamahine is the complete polar opposite. We lived about, I'd say on average, about 5 kilometres from our kura, and kāre tō mātou waka, so I hikoi ki te kura most of the time. And it's those little things. And, you know, I'm not the dramatic uncle that's like, and we walked to 1,000 miles.
Had to stand in cow shit.
But, you know, no breakfast, walking to school, getting to school, tired as, and then me kuhu ki ngā mahi. It's those little things that was really hard. And I te wā I whai whare, I whai kainga, I te waimariatanga o te aroha nui a te hapori. I mātou te whare I te hōtoke, hei te ngā kōwhiringa kai, I te nui ngō te wā kaore he kai. One thing that I always think about poverty, and it stuck with me when I heard Pa Moana Jackson say that people think that poverty is a result of laziness or somebody who has no ambition, but honestly, poverty is as an outside description of it, it was the deliberate disposition of our people as Māori. And that's a beautiful thing to think about now, 20 years on. But when you're in that, you ain't seeing none of that. All you're seeing is shit. I live in a tent, I'm hungry, I gotta go to school. Yeah.
I roto I tō kōrero, I kōrero rā koe I tipu I mea, I hunaku ke mea. As a child, did you move from town to town? And what was that like?
Unstable. When you think about what a tamaiti needs, the necessities of a child, it's love, it's kai, it's shelter, and stability. And I was born in Porirua, love where I was born. But at that time, born into a state home with my whānau, to parents who struggled from addiction to a range of things. I have this thing that I come up with in my head. It's a metaphor. I don't know if you've seen, what's that little kids movie, Inside Out?
I have.
Or Bing Bong on it?
Yeah.
I have.
One of the metaphors that I come up with in my head to nurture my inner child is the Bing Bong. Like, I liken my dad to Bing Bong, taku pāpā, and I hunuku mātou. So he moved us, he pāpā, I was raised by a single dad, me and my brother. But no taranaki taku māma, so in my head, he took us to Taranaki so we could whakawhenua there, and then he took us back home to where he was from, to the coast. But I liken him to when they're trying to get up that hill, and he's just like, no, go again, go again, go again. Ko tana ngana tira. That was him really trying to get us up there. And the things that he did to get Bing Bong's little cart up, I haere ki te ako I te reo, I haere ki te atarangi, ki ngā kura pō, ki te wānanga o Raukawa, ki te kura matatini o Taranaki. Like, I tino ngana ia, I runga I ngā taumahatanga o te pōharatanga, addiction, drug addiction, all of those things, I kei te rongo tonu au I tana ngana. And I really like that metaphor of he's Bing Bong. And even though, you know, after all his hard work, you know, take us home, tukuna ia mātou ki te kura kaupapa, that was his, you know how there's that like last little push? And like that's when Bing Bong jumps off. So I think that was my dad's last little pana ia māua ko takutungane. Ko te tuku ia mātou ki te kura kaupapa Māori, ana I peke ia, o I mahui mai ki I aia, ana ka waimaria mātou te topa ki runga. And that was kind of Riley getting up on the thing. Ahakoa kei roto tonu taku papa I tērā rua. Ko tana mahuetanga mai, ko tā mātou waimaria ka mihi au ki tērā. And it's so fucking hard, you know. It was so unstable, but that's how I liken it. It's just really trying to get up there.
And what impact does that have on your life now?
E hara I te mea he impact, engari he waimariatanga. Impact kino nei. He hara I te mea he pānga kino nei. Engari ka mihi au ki ngā whera whiako, he waimariatanga. But before I went on this like healing journey and te mihi ki era wāhi, ki era whiako, I roto I awa, it was living in this constant state of like survival, very honestly, in all honesty. It taught me resilience, but it robbed me of stability. One of the struggles that I'm struggling with now is like struggling to feel worthy of abundance. That's a big struggle that I'm like currently battling with, and knowing, and again, like I know I'm quoting Pāmoana heaps, but I always read up on his kōrero, because kei reira katoa ngā kurahuna, that poverty isn't a personal failure, it's an outcome of colonialism. And it's a beautiful reminder that, you know, poverty isolates you to this suffocating corner of society. You know, it affects your access to education, to healthcare, to the basic needs of everyday. To one of the things that I struggled with as a young girl being raised by men was it impacted my ability to have high quality, high trust relationships with people. Because, oh, we're just going to move to the next town, or Papa's going to do this, or, you know. So no use trying to whai wāhi atu ki te tahi. But I knew that from a young age, like I knew from a young age that it wasn't just about the money, it wasn't about, or the lack of money or not having money. It was that intergenerational trauma that took away our ability, our right as Māori to be self-sustainable. And that's a privilege that I can reflect on now.
There's beautiful moments in those times, you know, where I see I've gone over home and, you know, I've seen my cousins on the couch gone out to it with their chosen whatever they've done, and walked into the room and my little niece is holding my little nephew saying, "Kei te pai, we'll be right, Uncle be here soon." How was that with your brother? You found he was your responsibility or you were his?
Oh, yeah. Hey, our brothers are ours, their responsibility, eh? In all honesty, kei te miri tonu au I ana marutanga. Kei te miri tonu au I oku ake. But trying to do that as an 8-year-old, as a 10-year-old, as a 12-year-old to now, has been an experience in myself. And ko tahi ana ke taku uri I whānau mai ki tēnei ao, ko Moerangi Tetapuhi. Engari, ka mea ki te iwi, ko taku tuatahi, ko taku te ngāne. You know, and like I said at the beginning, the realities of poverty is it doesn't go away once you earn money. It doesn't go away. It's not this magical thing that like you earn money now, like kua puta koe I te rua. So when I kāre I waimaria te wehe tō kei te kura, I hea te puta ki te ao, engari he haipapa tāku he whakatipu I toku tungane, kia puta ia I te kura. So mo te rua tau, I mahi au ki te reo irirangi o Ngāti Porou, te katoa te puta I homai ki au, he utu I te reti o te whare, I te hoko kai. Engari, mai te wā te kema ono tau taku pakikitira. And I'm not saying they're like, oh my God, so sad. But that's just the reality of so many whānau. Like I'm not the only one, wasn't the last, wasn't the first. But that wasn't the hard part, you know, having to work for the whānau and stuff like that. That wasn't the hard part. The hard part is seeing him not understand or trying to hide things from him and protecting him from things. When that's not my... that shouldn't be the role of a child. Yeah, that shouldn't be the role of a child. It was just...
I think you touched on it. You know, if I think about, you know, because you said we're not lazy.
Yeah.
You know, it was just kind of our reality. What are some other misconceptions?
I think it's structural. He mea heke tērā I te colonialism. And... you know, you've seen it, all the comments on Facebook, just get a job, just do all of these. Even now, my misconceptions that I project onto others, he rawa, he whai rawa ki te pūtea, ki te whare, engari he rawa kore ki te reo, engari ko tāke, oh, he nui ngā karahe hara ki te ako e te reo. You know, kei te pērā tonu oku whakaro, ahakoa he whai rawa a pūtea nei, kei reira tonu au e whakawā ana I te rawa kore, he heke ngā no tērā I te tāmitanga. But, you know, me as a kaiako, I'm just like, you're so lazy, why can't you just go and learn te reo for your kid? You know, you're just sending your kid to kura kaupapa Māori. But ko wai au ki te whakawā, kaore au I te mōhio ki tāna ao. And another misconception, I think, some of the people will probably disagree with this, but you can live in poverty and be the richest kid on the street. Kei te kite au I tērā I roto I taku ake whānau. Taku rangatahi I tipu whai rawa. Ai te whare, ko ia te whare Disney Channel, you know, Sky Remote, I whakamiharo au ki tērā, yeah, that's what I think. Engari, he pohara te whakaro. Yeah, it's that. Yeah, he pohara a konei, he pohara a konei hoki, te ngākau.
Yeah, because I tipu pohara mai koe I te rawa, but, you know, I te rawa pūtea. But kei te kāinga tonu, hey, kei tō kura, me o koka, o papa, those are all riches that those other fellas didn't get.
Ko tērā, you know, taku waimaria ki au nei, mātou te homatua ka tino mārama ki te mahi ati wairua. Ki au nei ko te mahi ati wairua tērā I mahi ana I ana mahi. Ko mātou, taku whānau, taku tungane, ko mātou te tuatahi o ngā reanga e whā, te hoki mai ki te kāinga. Kua pāhotea kia te au I tēnei ki te motu, engari taku tipuna kraua, he whāwhā tamariki, he moe ki tana ake tamāhine, ka pita ko taku matua keke, ana he mea heke tērā momo mate, ana he heke o te tāmitanga hoki. Engari koera te take iwe he te whānau. Engari, ka mōhio te ao wairua ha ana mahi ai, ka whakahoki I te mea, e taia ana te whati, te whakakōrero I ngā mea, ka puehutia ki raro I te whāriki. Ana ko tēnei kaupapa tira. So yeah, blessed to be raised at home, and it does sound all beautiful, but it wasn't. I taua wā tonu, like we were still in state care, my brother and I, we were still, you know, imagine going to, you've got exams on one day and then the next day you're in court. Or you've got exams one day and then you're meeting with a lawyer talking about this, this and this and this. Ka ki au ki te katoa, nā te aho matua au I ora ai, literally, I ora ai. Nā te reo Māori mātou ko tōku whānau I ora. And it literally saved my life. Te Ao Māori saved my life, and that's why I give so much to it. Te Ao Māori saved my life, and that's why I'm so passionate about our kaupapa.
Kia ora.
About our kaupapa.
I wanted to touch on that, te rā mea te imposter syndrome. Hey, koe nei, you're in the space where you're feeling not worthy of what you've got.
Imposter syndrome when you're succeeding or, struggling to feel worthy of abundance is a real mind fuck. Sorry. But it really is. Because kei konei ahau I rere mai ki tāmaki, engari kei te mōhio au, kei reira aku I rāmutu. You know, kei konei rātou, kei te hia kai taku whānau. Like, on my way here, I did a click and collect order for our te whare koha I whanganui, because I kite au te teipohi kei te hia kai, and I was like, man, taku waimari, I can just do this. I'm flying to Auckland in this premium seat. Like, it sometimes is a yucky feeling.
How koe rongo nei tērā? Why is it that you're feeling like yuck?
I think it's guilt.
Still doing it, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's guilt. That, and it's not I got out there, still there. You're still there, but it's... And koe rā taki, you know, ko te tahuri I taku mamai, hei aroha.
Yeah, kia ora.
I could either say, you know, sit in that victim mindset, poor me, te pupuhara, and koe rau e kororo mo te poharo te whakaaro. Or I can turn it into a creative mindset and be like, now what can I do with the resources that I now have, with the knowledge that I now have, with the networks that I now have, to create a positive impact for my whānau, for our whānau, for our hapori.
How do we pull our whanaunga out? How do we pull our iramutu out of pōharatanga? Because some are just, you know, I think about some of my cousins on the coast, they still live in a tent, but man, I go on a holiday to stay in a tent, you know, and it's a weekend of just amazingness. And, you know, kia rātou, kaore tū atu I tērā ao. Engari mō tētahi kua puta I te kāinga, ka hoki te tiro ki tērā, kua kia tērā he pōhara. But that kazi can hunt his own kai. That kazi has always got, you know, the hakari sauce for any kaupapa, say tangihanga. You know, how do we ensure that there's a ripple effect that, you know, ko tātou kua puta I te kāinga, e mahi moni ana, e whangai tonu ana I te kaupapa o te aho matua, ka pehea tā tātou mahi ngātahi, kia ora ai ngātahi rua, kia kaua tētahi e ki he pōhara tētahi atu.
Like my own, like personal experiences, I think ko te hoki atu ki te kāinga. Like I think that was my dad's like lifeline.
Sure.
Was like, I've got nowhere else to go. All I know is home. And tērā kōrero a paparawiri e, aha kua kāre koe te mōhio ki tō maunga, kei te mōhio tō maunga ki a koe, and kua whea ko au I tērā. I noho au ki te pūtake o pātanga tamaunga, taku maunga ake, ki te pā o ake tupuna, and I tino mōhio taku maunga ki aoa. I hoki atu ki te kāinga, ana pehe pērā ki o kōrero, I ako me pēhea ki te kohi kai. My cousins are going to be like, she's so full of shit. But, you know, I ako ki te kohi kai, ako ki te whakarite kai, me pēhea ki te hora I te marae, ako I te reo, I ako I ngā kōrero tuku iho. So it's reconnecting with traditional ways of being and of living where wealth wasn't measured by material things, it was measured by whenua and whakapapa and whānau and mātauranga. And tō kōrero mo te hāpai ake I a tātou katoa, you know, it isn't about slowly pulling individuals and individuals escaping from poverty, it's about us all rising together, having the ability to rise together. Ko tētahi mea ka whakarotia e au mo taku pua wānanga. Kei te hiahia au, kia noho ko te tuanui o taku whare, hei papa mana.
Ngā tāhua.
So, kei roto I taku whānau, taku papa, Jack, ka mōhio koe ki oia, I tito taku uncle I te tei whakatauaki mōna. E ki ana, ko tō whare, ko mumuwhango, ko kie, ko te tāhuhu, ko te ika o te rangi. Ana, e kōrero ana tērā mō te ao I whakairohia e o tātou tūpuna mā tātou. Ana, kaore tātou I te tiro ātua nui nei ki o tātou whare. Ana, ko te ika o te rangi e kōrero ana mō ngā whetū. Ana, he mea tohu tērā I a tātou tamariki whaia I tērā ara. Koira te whare e hiahia ana e au ka noho hei whare māpua wānanga. Ko te mea nui, tētahi o ngā kurahuna o roto I tērā, kia puritia ki te aka matua a mumuwhango a kieke, and it's to remain grounded. Reach for the stars, whaia te ika o te rangi, but remain grounded. And there's some beautiful kurahuna in that. But yeah, that's what I want. I want the ceiling of my whare to be the
start,
the foundation of hers.
That's tērā mea, the generational wealth. We have it in our whānau. There's the pioneer, koe tērā. You go out, tōku papa tērā, they go out, they carve the way, they fight for everything that there is, and they don't get much of it, you know. Pērā ki a koe, your whole life is going to be given to our tuawai. So that's sweet. That's your job as the start. Te reanga tuarua, they're the trailblazers. They go off what you're saying, your ceiling. That's me with my father and my whānau. You know, I've been given all these resources. I started in the world with, here, go for it. Whatever you want, bro, go hard. You know, as long as you further where we went. You know, so that's the next step, the trailblazer. Ana, ko te reanga tuatoru, ko rātou te reanga kangaro. Because, you know, I got to grow up watching my dad on the muscle barges, doing it at 5 in the morning till 8 at night. I watched our wealth be built, you know, and I know how to build it because I watched it. Pērā ki a, she's watched you hustle this whole way. She'll know that's exactly how mum did it, I'll do it like this. But then her baby will come and it'll be sweet. Everything's been good. She's had houseless wages. Nobody's been living in tents. We only go for holidays in tents now. And how the key there is to teach them what it looked like and to carry on the legacy of your poaratanga kia mōhio he ao anō ki konei. Mena ka pirangi koe, you can get there too. But we've set this up for us to all manaki, and you're in it now, and this is yours. Hey? And yes, but that's the generational wealth. It's the third generation that'll fuck it up. That's my little because you just wake up with an iPhone and you don't know. You don't know what heart is. You don't know what mai is. You don't know how this all happened. Yeah. But that was just a whakaro I had for you and your whānau. When you're building your generational wealth, you know your job as the pioneer. Yeah.
Crack up. Sorry, my arorere tini is rereing atu right now. But I was literally, while you were talking about that, I was sitting here thinking, well, one thing that we did over the Christmas, we went to the north and we stayed in a tent, and I was like, this is, like trigger, no. But while I was there, I was thinking, man, what are all the like crack up things that like were just so like, you know, have you seen that trend and it's like, what is something that's rich and da-da-da, but it's poor, and if you're poor, da-da-da-da, like op shopping, you know, it's so trendy if you're whairawa. But when you actually whairawa living it, nobody wants your riggedy, you know? You just want a new Editas pants or something.
I love what shit.
But yeah, I was thinking about that, and like one of the things that I'm real handy on at Kohanga is kutus. I'm like in the chat, mātua whakapai ngā makoeanga, tamariki, and I tangi au ki te kutu tuatahi a Puananga. And I was heartbroken, but because I remember when I got kutus as a kid, taku papa. You know, some people have kerosene memories and fly spray. Nah, I just got a straight number 1.
Yeah.
Like a straight.
Hewa, ngā makoe.
Just number 1.
Nice.
And I whakate kia Puananga. And the disgust on my child's face, I just thought,
You know?
Never know, girl.
oh, you're gonna know the way you look. The way you look. But you know, my dad gave me a number fucking one. And like, that wasn't periscopal, that was styling now. But back then, when you're 8, and if you white is gonna laugh at you, they will. But you know, those are like some of the low-key realities. You know, even other things that I remember from that. I remember getting my first. Do you remember like the bonds, and you could like show your guts to be like, I got bonds.
Bonds.
Yeah. Well, te teo ake sissies e koha te teikio. Brand new on a kurungais trip, black and grey. I remember them. They were my brand new undies, and I would hike them above my school shop to be like, Titiro. I made it. I've got the same guts as you. Yeah. Because I remember my whole life, no te op shop, ake undies katoa. I might have had like 2 pairs, maybe. Sure. And fuck, that's so embarrassing. That is so embarrassing. You know, like when you're like tautau matahi, you don't want to show anyone you've got like the little like lace ones that look like they should be fucking curtains from your nan's house. Like, you don't want to show your mates that on a school trip or something. But those are like the realities, eh? Sure. And like, I I hoko anipani hau o mā puawananga. Because kei te whakarite mātou kia haere ki te wharepaku. And I bought the wrong size 12. Come on, Mum. But when I got them, I saw that they were the wrong size. I was like, it took me back to that moment. I fully forgot about it. And I was like, actually, you know, e hario ki te toa hoko, and I was like, there might be a girl that was like me, that had to go and get the cruddy graddies. There just might be. So, ia wiki, ka hoko ai te tei paki te anipani, ka hario ki te toa hoko, just hoatu, you know, ki te tai mai te tahi. Please, hoatu ki aia. And that's like core memory shit, eh? Back to the bing bong stuff, you know, that's the core memory shit that you just can't, well, actually, no, I did forget it, but, you know, it comes back in those little moments. And that's where gratitude is important. Being grateful for where you're at. There's always someone worse off than you, you know. There's always going to be someone better off. But yeah, fuck, those are just some of the crack up. Like,
that's a cool one, because you can look at every pair of undies you pull on today, eh? Just think, thank you, undies. What a great
I have these, straight up, that's how like grateful I am. I've got these cruddy yellow gruts that I had, and I always tell Tawhia, these are older than you, my brother. And he's like, bro, get rid of those. And I say, here, tohu whakamahara tēnei kia. Like, legit. And that sounds stupid, and I'm trying to be funny, but I'm being serious. Like, they remind me of where I come from. And
I think, you know, what's pōti for me is that a lot of our whānau are still struggling in that. It's 2025 and we've still, you know, I know we can all name whānau that are still struggling with kākahu, with kai, you know, things that shouldn't be a struggle. What, you know, kua puta koe I tērā, you know, you have the privilege of, you know, fortunate for your daughter that kaore era taumahatanga e tauhi hoki aia. But what would you say to those whānau who are still struggling, who still can't afford to, you know, get the things that we're feeling like should be just an everyday necessity?
I think mau ki taku ringa, you know, anei taku ringa. Ka whakaro au ko tētahi rongoā ki tērā. Hari a tātou tamariki ki te kohanga reo. Hari a tātou tamariki ki te kura kaupapa Māori. Yeah. Whāngaihia te reo ki a tātou tamariki. I think that's like rongoā. You can't really say much that's going to help. Like I said, it's an isolating corner of society. But I just want whānau to know that it's not their fault. He hua tērā o te tāmitanga I a tātou te iwi Māori. We were a wealthy people, as Māori, as Indigenous people. It is not your fault. And that's something that those of us that aren't in there, need to be reminded of too. You know, ko wai tātou ki te whakawāia rātou. And I had to fucking check myself as a kaiako to being like, what's your excuse, you know? Ka tuku mai koe tō tamariki ki tēnei kura kāre o reo. What's your excuse? Engari, he rawa kore riri ki tērā kāre au I te mōhio ki tērā. But yeah, what would I say to our whānau is anei takurenga, genuinely anei takurenga, not like anei takurenga, e te whānau, you know?
Sure.
You know, it's genuinely anei takurenga. And honestly, if I'm being honest, I can't speak on behalf of them anymore because kāre au I reira. And my bank account might say different, but you know, a whakaro nei kāre au I reira, a tai au nei kāre au I reira, a waimariatanga kāre au I reira I nai nei.
For me, in that experience, you know, it can be a whakamā for our whānau to admit that, you know, he pōharatanga.
That's why we don't talk about it. It's so fucking shamos.
Yeah.
Who wants to say, one memory that I have that is like titi to this day is Tavkemo, Aros. He dropped me off on the netball van after Wednesday, if you know Wednesday netball rotorea, and he dropped me off, my whole netball team's in there, oku hoa katoa, and he goes, anei, he pauaka kai. And I was like, and all my mates know that I'm okay, like, so it was so fucking embarrassing. And I was like, oh no, kei te pai, when really, I really wanted it, but I'm like, did you have to give it in front of all my mates? But yeah, that's just a memory that I have. It's so shamos to talk about, and like, me hiki tātou I te taupoki o tērā whakamā, because that shame doesn't belong to our whānau. That shame belongs to the system that impoverished our people. That shame belongs to those who took our land. That shame belongs to those who took our reo. That shame belongs to the system.
Kia ora.
Me hiki tērā taupoki o te whakamā. And how do we do that? It's about including our tamariki in those conversations. And, you know, awawe noho kaiako ana, koira tētahi o akurau taki whakaako I roto I te akomanga. And we can all be a part of those conversations.
Kia ora.
You know, you might have mea tamaiti who has mea everything and mea tamaiti who can barely hokoa, who kura, you know, but how do we bridge that? It's about, hiki te taupoki o te whakamā. Me te whakaako tika I te hitori o te pōharatanga I roto I tō tātou whenua I heke mai I te tāmitanga. I think that is one of the most important things that we can do is to educate our tamariki, tangata tiriti, whoever, about the real whakapapa. I don't even want to say the whakapapa of poverty, but the whakapapa of poverty in our whenua. Because that shame little 12-year-old Moerangi that really wanted that box of kai, that wasn't on you, you know. Yeah. Koira, it's shame, it's uncomfortable to talk about, but it's so important to talk about. And it's being inclusive with those conversations. It's not talking about them, it's talking with them.
Anei akuringa. I think that's a good place to leave it. E mi ana kia koe tō māia, te noho tahi kia māua. Ki te hunga mātaki, me o whiako nui, me tō aroha nui, me tō manawa nui ki tēnei ao Māori, ki tō tamaiti. Thank you for watching e te whānau. That's been another episode of Under The Whāriki.
Kanoira te mihi.
Love you all.